Well, hello there and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to go trail ride here at the Leon Creek Greenway, but we're doing something a little different. I've got my gravel bike. So today I'm going to do my typical trail ride and we'll see how this bike handles trails. Should really spice things up out here, and we'll talk a little bit more about this bike as we ride. I already made a video going over the specs and stuff and what I've changed so far to make this a little bit more mountain bike friendly. I'll leave a link in the top right corner of the screen if you want to check that out. The thing that attracted me to this style of bike was it reminded me of old school mountain bikes, you know, fully rigid flat bars, and that's where the similarities end, because with this you get, you know, disc brakes, hydraulic disc brakes, a carbon fork, aluminum frame, 700C wheels, dropper post, you know, everything you'd want on a modern mountain bike, but you're getting the sensation of mountain biking on something 20, 30 years older. And it's far less sketchy. Most people are probably gonna be like, oh, just buy a hardtail and ride that. And there's some validity to that. I would say if you're new to mountain biking and you're looking for your first bike around $1,000 and you're cross shopping something like this or a hardtail, a similarly priced hardtail, definitely get the hardtail. I don't think this bike would be much fun on trails for a beginner. If you care about, you know, gravel roads and maybe some street mixed in there, then yeah, this bike's cool. Now, if you're a more experienced rider, such as myself, this thing is an awesome skill sharpener. I've ridden these trails thousands of times, I feel like, and I've never felt so laser focused as I do right now. Every line choice is critical. Every movement you make on the trail is a direct hit to your body in a sense. There's no forgiveness here. On a full suspension bike, you kind of lose sight of that. You just try to go as quickly as possible, and if you make a couple poor line choices, it doesn't matter. You don't even feel these rocks half the time. On this bike, I feel everything. My hands are vibrating quite a bit. I think my rear end is going to go sore here by the end of the day, but I have a huge smile on my face. No, of course I'm not going to be the fastest out here on this bike, and that's not what this is about. This bike to me is more about back to the basics fun. The skills I learn on the trail while riding this bike will only make me a better rider once I get back on my full suspension. We're just learning from the feedback of the trail is priceless and something you don't often get on a full suspension. Oh, that was a little rough. And see, now I know not to hit that line in the future. All right, I just set my camera up to film this chili bowl, as it's called. I'm not a little intimidated, I'm very intimidated by this feature. On a mountain bike, I wouldn't think twice about doing this, but that's kind of the joy of this bike. It makes you really, really commit to something. Jesus, take the wheel, I don't like this, but I'm gonna do it. Let's go. Clicked in, up, and up, and whoo. Oh, that is exhilarating. Oh, that is the beauty of this bike. You can see the feature behind me here, right there. It's pretty steep. It's not the scariest feature in the world, I know, but on a bike like the Marin DSX 1, it was definitely a little more heart-stopping than it normally is, but I am so stoked to have done that. Maybe I'm just getting better finally, who knows? I climbed Parkwood the other day with Dan, and I had to be in the 51 tooth cog out back, and it was weird. Like, obviously I could feel the bike was lighter, but I was still having to put in a little more effort just because the gearing ratio is so different. I run a 30 tooth oval chainring on my mountain bikes, and this is a 40 tooth chainring, and that is actually quite a big difference, I've noticed. So for a longer climb, I found it almost more difficult to climb with this bike than just a heavier mountain bike with better gear ratios. On the street, this thing climbs fine because you're not worrying about picking your line and stuff. You just sit there, mash it out, and you're good. If I just do some longer climbs on this bike, that 40 tooth will give me some ripped legs. One thing I should clarify from the last video is the tubeless setup on this bike. No, it is not tubeless ready from Marin. I did mention that those Riddler tires are not tubeless compatible, so if you do want to convert this tubeless, I would strongly suggest getting new tires like I did. You will have to retape the rims. I just used Gorilla Tape, and I've had no issues with this setup since getting the new tires. One thing I have to criticize on this bike is the hub engagement. It's just not very good. I didn't expect it to be from a $900 gravel bike, so if you're used to your i9 Hydra hubs that engage near instant, this is gonna feel weird. I've gotten used to it because I've been riding this bike quite a bit lately, but the first ride I was like, oh, there's a lot of play in those pedal strokes. Ooh, I don't know what that noise was. I think if you're like me and probably in a small margin of people that want to go mountain biking on their gravel bike, then I really think flat bars is the way to go. Now, on the flip side, if you're a road biker and you want to experience some trails, I think a traditional gravel bike might be better just because you would be used to that hand positioning and geometry a little bit more than, say, I would. I used to be a road biker, so I'm no stranger to drop bars, but that part of me is long gone. Yep. I am so stoked I got this bike. It's not going to be my main bike ever, but some days you just want to challenge yourself, get connected with your local trail, and experience it in a brand new way. Hats off to you, Marin. I really like this bike. They did just raise the price. I bought it for $940. I think it's a little closer to $1,100 now. Everything's going up in price in the bike world right now, and supply and demand, I get it. I still think this bike's a pretty good value at the higher price. If you could have gotten one of these for around 900 bucks, oh, it is so cool. Okay, so final thoughts on the Marin DSX1. It's really fun. I don't recommend a beginner buy this bike and try to take it on trails. I would say you definitely need some mountain biking experience before buying this and trying to take it on trails. Also, this bike has been upgraded some to be able to do this. I would definitely recommend this bike to a mountain biker that wants to challenge themselves on some local trails. If you live in Colorado, Utah, or Canada, or somewhere with some more serious trails, I would skip this, just get a hardtail and rip that thing. Marin, thank you for making this bike. I know it's probably a very niche market at the moment. Maybe you're onto something and this segment will grow and everyone will be riding rigid mountain bikes like it's 1986 again. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any final questions about this bike, leave them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them to the best of my abilities and knowledge. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and until the next one, stay rowdy within reason.